Hi guys, let me know that you can hear me. I see you guys in the chat over at Pilled. Hello everyone. I see you over at Rumble Revs over there. Can you guys hear me? There's a delay. But I'm excited for tonight's show, everyone. I'm calling this the Defenders Ladies Night Thursday night show. I've got an amazing guest, and I gotta tell you, when I posted about this show, there was so much love out there. So I'm extra excited to bring in my special guest. But before I do that, let me play a little intro for you.
A Voltron, defender of the universe. A mighty robot. Loved by good, feared by evil. As Voltron's legend grew, peace settled across the galaxy. On planet Earth, a galaxy alliance was formed. Together with the good planets of the solar system, they maintained peace throughout the universe.
Hi there, Voltron.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you on today for Ladies Night.
Yeah, so exciting.
So thank you so much for being on here. It is an honor. I did want to tell the audience what we experienced. I was like drying my tears over here. So I got to tell you guys, I bought a new computer thanks to Jimmy out there who helped me with that. And then because I had no idea like what I needed, I was like, I want a really, really good one. I got a new streaming service because the other one stunk. And then literally 10 minutes before we started the stream, or 10 minutes before I was going to talk to Voltron, nothing worked. It was working before, and then all of a sudden nothing worked. So I call Voltron and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. I'm freaking out. And Voltron said a prayer and I said a prayer and it worked. I mean, it's amazing the things that happen. I felt like I was under attack. And when you stop and breathe and pray, things get better.
Amen.
It was incredible. Like the way you're like, it's okay, just breathe. I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah, just all glory to God, and make sure that we, keep it all away from us and help us, speak truth. That's what we do.
Amen. Thank you for that. Thank you. So before we get started, there are so many people out in the chat that I want to say hello to, but there are lots and lots of great comments. I've got some gold pills already. Thank you, Matrix. Matrix gave the can. Thank you so much for that. I can actually look at the comments now. It's amazing. I couldn't do it last week.
So this is awesome.
Yeah. So Voltron memer extraordinaire. So I gotta say, I talked a little bit about my journey into what we call, being a truther. And I gotta say, before I had my own channel on Telegram, you were one of my go-tos. Like I would wake up in the morning, go on Telegram, like before I even got out of bed to see what was happening. And you and Army Girl were like my two go-tos.
Oh, that's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
That's great. That's fantastic. Nice to know that my work is not going unnoticed because I spend a lot of time on Telegram.
So I got to tell you, we were talking about this before. You not only are you all over the place, you're on TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, Truth, Twitter, right? You're on every platform, as am I, but you've got 3 kids at home
I do. Yeah, and a full-time job.
and you're a
Yep.
single mother.
I am. Yes, very busy. I don't know how I find time. God helps me make time. I've been really honored, and it's such a privilege to be able to be a part of the movement and be able to, you know, run my house and keep my kids on task and
Mhm.
keep my job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough. Some days it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But every day I'm just inspired to do more. So I just keep going.
Does it feel overwhelming sometimes? I mean, I feel like there's so much news to keep up with and so much going on in the world that sometimes I feel guilty taking a break from it.
Yeah, I do. When I am spending time with my kids, or like we go on vacation, or I'm working and I can't participate in my Telegram channel or work on anything, I do feel a little guilty. But at the same time, it is very overwhelming. And it's super important for us to take breaks and take mental breaks, like
Mhm.
in order for us to kind of realign and get focused on what's important, not get lost in, the hubbub of the daily drama that's going on.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that like really goes back to like the idea of focusing on things that are actually important and not getting stuck on things that are just kind of mundane, or things that aren't super like need to be discussed and beaten to death, right? Like
Right.
just
Agreed.
to stay focused on the right things, I guess.
I was thinking about this before. I mean, if I look back at my life pre Telegram and pre, kind of being in the movement and being out there, the people that left me, right? They decided they didn't want to be my friends anymore. I feel like it was a very mean girls crowd, right? Like now when I look back at it now, it feels like that movie Mean Girls. But now there's so many women that I've met in the last several years or in this movement. Everyone's been amazing. Like everyone's so nice. They're encouraging. They're there to help. It's just an amazing phenomenon that I see. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, why is that? What is so different? And to me, the way I saw it was that we have purpose. What we do isn't just to get along. It's not just, something we do. Our purpose is to help awaken people. Our purpose is to help put the right information out there and to help make the world a better place for our kids. Right. So I feel like
Absolutely.
that is it's a major culture shift.
Absolutely. I think it's kind of weird, like how it all worked out, because I've been awake for so long and I've been a part of this movement from the very beginning. So, you know, until, COVID came along, and like I was able to go home and like work from home, and I had all this free time. That's when I really started getting into social media and creating memes and being a part of the community rather than just kind of, watching it. And yeah, I think the most amazing part of this path has been the relationships that I've built. And I have lost a lot of friends, a lot.
Yeah.
But it's funny because, I look at it in a sense that God removed those people from my life during COVID. Like I wasn't quarantined like other people were quarantined. I was quarantined in a special way where God really wanted me to spend some time alone,
Yeah.
to really reevaluate the relationships and the focus in my life, right?
Mhm.
So I look at it all as such a huge blessing. And yeah, I've made some really great friends, you included, um, on this path. And it's been amazing. And we do have a purpose, and we've been chosen for a time like this. And the
Agreed.
fact that we harness it and do it is amazing. And I hope that that blesses other people.
Amen.
Hmm.
So tell me about that when like I know you've been awake for a really long time. So what is it that woke you up?
Oh, geez. um, so back in 2013, I was actually suffering from sleep paralysis, which I don't know if you know a lot about that, but it's a very odd experience. Was suffering from it for quite some time, over a year. I started doing research on it because I wanted to try to figure out what it was, understand it, and maybe find some way to get out of the experiences. Through that research, is I found this video by Face Like the Sun on YouTube. It's like a 3-hour video about angels and demons in the spiritual world, which is something that I never really gave too much thought about. And in that documentary, there was a scientist who was talking about how people who were experiencing sleep paralysis was this having the same experience as people who were having alien abductions, that they were the same experience but different, which was really interesting. And in that, he was saying that the only way for people to come out of the experience was to call on the name of God, like to call on the name of Jesus to get them out of the experience. That's the only time he's ever seen anyone be able to do it. So at that point, I was like, what? And that documentary just woke me up to so many things. It talked about the government. There was a lot of stuff like that bill. There's so much information. My mind like literally was blown after watching that, and put it like on my channel or something later if anyone's interested in watching it. But yeah, after that, like I ended up doing a bunch of research on all like understanding the spiritual world. I was not a Christian before. Of that year, I was saved, like full on, like that there was a spiritual world and who Jesus was and God and that, and just gave my life to that, and just kept researching like on child trafficking, digging on all kinds of buttholes. So for all those years.
That's amazing.
9/11, all of it. Yeah.
It's incredible that you bring this up, by the way, and I don't know that he would want me to share it, but my husband did recently have a dream about, where he saw someone who had passed on in the dream. It was very vivid. And, he woke up and he felt like his body was numb, and I couldn't explain it to him. I don't know if that's something similar to kind of what you had experienced.
It's kind of similar. So with the sleep paralysis, it's basically you're in a state of paralysis. You're sleeping.
You see what's happening around you?
Yes. So you can see everything. Like you're in your room, you can see your room, you can see everything, but you cannot move at all and you cannot make any noise. And so towards the end of the experience, I would start to feel like there was something either right outside of my peripheral or something sitting on top of me. And it's scary. It's super scary. And after I got saved, every time I had that experience, which I don't have like barely ever anymore, it's like super duper rare. I will literally like wake up from the experience saying the name of Jesus, get away from me, like out loud. It's intense. Yeah, it's actually a spiritual attack.
I mean, it's everywhere. And I don't know how much most people understand how much that affects us everywhere in every aspect of our lives. I mean, we talked about, even the attack on the stream, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens so much. I mean, there are friends of mine that are in the movement who have felt like a lot of things are happening to them in their lives that didn't happen before. And the more that they are doing the right things, the more it feels like there are spiritual attacks.
Absolutely. I think in the end, like it's really important for people to lean into their faith and make sure they're reading their Bibles and keeping their relationship with God, really strong. And when you have those moments, consider them blessings.
Yeah.
Like I had said to you earlier, I was listening to someone talk on, I think it was TikTok earlier, that was saying that if you're not being attacked spiritually, you're not on the right side of the fight.
Right.
We have to look at it as a blessing, and understand that we do live in a spiritual world. We are spirits having a human experience on this thing that we call Earth. And, the Bible tells us that we are having a war with prince and principalities and spirits in the air. Like, it's very clear. But that's the other side of the war, is most people don't see that. They don't believe in that, and they become victims of that, or products of that. And this right now, we are going through probably one of the most intense spiritual wars I think our earth has ever experienced. Human experience. Yeah. So
I got to tell you, this week, I mean, whether it's spiritual, political, all in one together, I feel like there's been such a shift. I've been extra emotional, not just because I'm a woman, but I feel like so much good has been happening, but so many things have changed. I just, there's something's happening.
Yeah, I
And I
agree.
feel like everyone feels that.
I think the light is really trying to break through right now. And we can see that in the sense of understanding what we're watching on the political front and everything else. We're seeing them flailing around. They're just throwing it around like it's like nobody's paying attention, like none of us see it. And that tells you that they know their time is running short. People are awake, they're waking up, and light is coming. And we just have to keep on pushing out the truth and fighting, and we're going to see glory on the other side of this.
Amen. I mean, in terms of the fact that we have the ability to have more freedom of speech, have the ability to speak out, because when Twitter was what Twitter was, and having the ability to even get on there and speak almost freely, it makes it harder for them to do anything that they used to do in the dark.
Oh yeah, Twitter was a huge tool for them. I went to J6, and I had a pretty big Twitter account. I had 16K followers, and back before they got rid of us all on January 8th. And they've been running the show, and that's where people get their news, is Twitter. And so you look at them wanting to shut down TikTok. That's why, because they don't have the ability to control the narrative there. They hate Elon right now because he's not letting them take it back. And you have Trump's Truth Social. We have Telegram. Thank God for Rumble. You've Pilled and Foxhole. All these great places and platforms that are allowing us to speak again. And it's awesome to be able to go back on Twitter possibly and amplify our voices.
Agreed.
Again.
And it's funny because you almost see the left screaming out that they're being censored, and wait a minute, you don't like what I'm saying, I'm not allowed to say what I want to say, and all of a sudden they're experiencing what we experienced. I got to imagine at some point there are some human beings there that will say, is this what they were talking about? Or is that me just being crazy to think that they would think that way?
I don't know. Like, sometimes I just think it's projection. Like, it's hard. Like, this is when I got to give it to God, right? Because I definitely don't wish ill will on anyone, right? Like, I want everyone to wake up, and but sometimes it's just like you're like, what am I talking to? Is this person a real person? Like, do they have a conscious mind? Like, do they think about these things before they say them? I think about that about a lot of Democratic leaders. Like, the half the things they say, I'm like, what? Like,
They sound
how
like
can
robots.
any normal person think that way? Like, so weird. But then
It's
you think about, like, their pockets are getting fat. Like, they're getting paid to say that. Is that how they really feel? Maybe not. Probably not.
the
And you have
problem is it
places like
starts out
Telegram,
small.
Twitter, all those places just have ton of bots too. Sorry, I
Mhm.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, 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 it's okay. I mean, I feel like I because I try to put myself in people's shoes. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think people are born corrupt. They're
Right.
not born evil. And I do feel like they fall into this and they don't even realize it. And then suddenly you wake up one day and uh-oh, I'm fully corrupt and there's no way out of it. That's almost how I feel like it happens, how they evolve. And the problem is at some point they have to realize your only way out is to not have the fear of what's going to come to you. You almost have to put humanity first. Like even with what is it, Hakeem Jeffries,
Oh,
the
geez.
Obama clone,
Dollar
right?
store Obama.
Yeah, exactly. Like I commented at him the other day, and I said that, and I said, at what point is the money not worth it anymore? How much how much are these riches going to make you, like what is it going to take to make you happy? Because there's no way that you're happy just spewing a narrative that you're told to spew and not thinking for yourself.
Yeah, and it's sad because, like, we go back to the spiritual side of it. A lot of these people are so asleep. They don't even realize that they're not thinking for themselves. They really do think they're thinking for themselves. They do think they're out there as social justice warriors fighting for the right thing.
Mhm.
They don't realize that they've been propagandized and, like, basically raised to be some kind of soldier for them. So there are a lot of people out there that are just, they really do think they're doing the right thing.
Agreed. So I wanted to take a second and say thank you to Salion, who said on Rumble, who said, so bizarre. An independent journalist had Vicki Anderson on just the other evening. She wrote a book. They only come out at night, exposing the dark weapon of sleep paralysis. You heard of
Oh,
it
that
before?
sounds really interesting. No, I've never heard that.
It's
I'll have to
interesting.
check that out.
Yeah. And then, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, guys, on Pilled. I love how active they are. Pilled is my favorite. I gotta say,
Yeah.
it is by far my favorite. Matrix, I'm gonna mess this up. Matrix Q DeBreaker. I always want to say that the wrong way. Gifted a cookie again, Lori with a cookie. Thank you. And in gifted a cookie and said, you two should pair up more often. I agree.
Oh, yeah. This is so fun. I'm totally down for that.
I gotta tell you, I'm waiting for the day where we have this big victory celebration party
Oh,
and we
yes.
all get together and have this big old hug.
Oh my gosh. I will say, like, I did go to the pit, and outside of all that stuff, like, it was amazing to meet some of these people, like, in real life, and, like,
Mhm.
see these real humans that are behind these avatars and, behind these big voices. And man, like, just, it was such a cool experience to get to know all these people on a personal level, and, made some real friends. And
Mhm.
yeah, I can't wait for that day, and I hope it happens at Mar-a-Lago.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I did have a suggestion. I said when there's some executive orders out there where people might be losing some property.
Oh yeah.
So I said, if that happens, can we get a mansion, like an Anon mansion?
Yeah, dude, that would be so
Like,
rad.
we need an Anon mansion that we could just party at. Like, we all own this mansion together. It's just our party hub. We'll
That'd
take
be
turns using it.
awesome. Yeah, we could do like karaoke nights and
I love it. I totally think that should happen.
yeah, and I think there's a lot of talent in our movement too. Like, when like Pepe Lives Matter like pumps out a like something that inspires you or something, and I look
Mhm.
through his chat, there's just so many people in this movement that do such amazing things. It'd just be
True.
really cool to like be able to get together and share all that stuff with each other on a personal front.
I gotta tell you, I wish I could share further, because like you said, there's so much talent and so many wonderful people. They do such great things. And I feel like the people that, don't know about Pilled or don't know about Telegram, that's why, there are people like us that are still on TikTok and Instagram and trying to get people over who are, kind of too busy watching, CNN or I don't know, Real Housewives, whatever people watch these days.
The Kardashians.
Yeah, or the Kardashians. Is that show? I thought that show got taken down or something. I
I
thought it
would
ended.
not know,
I'm not
but
keeping up. But that's the problem is that at some point, what is it going to take to get those people to stop and say, okay, I've got to pay attention to happenings like current events and things that are happening around me because some stuff seems to be going down. Like, what is that going
yeah.
to take? What is it going to be?
Oh, I don't know. Something huge. I don't know. The first arrest, the first, I don't know. It's
Whose
going to
arrest
take,
could it be? Biden?
oh, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Like,
I mean,
I
that would
mean,
be
we
pretty
all know
awesome.
he's a criminal.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm hoping for Obama.
Oh, that would be the best.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I think Obama would be a big one, but I don't think Obama has the pull that I think he thinks he has or what he used to have. I think a lot of people have woken up to that.
I don't know.
But then I wonder, right? Like, I wonder about what's going on, what's being pushed on us right now, and it makes me think that Big Mike might make a run, right? Like, do you think they're setting the stage for this transgender push
Mm.
because Big Mike is coming up?
Well, I've heard a lot of rumblings about that, but I will tell you there was a brilliant friend of mine who I will leave nameless for now because I'll let them talk more to it when they're ready. But had a brilliant tie to history about the whole transgender thing and what is happening. So,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to speak to it as well as they can, but the gist of it is that back in the 1900s in Germany, this happened before where there were Nazis who were transvestites and there were a lot of them and that they built an army of trannies essentially. It's kind of funny to say but it's like a tranny army. And these people because they feel like they're marginalized and they don't fit in and they feel like something's wrong with them, they're easily manipulated
Yeah.
and they want to belong. So it's easy to get them to do the bidding of an evil entity or the government or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
they, get them armed and here's your target, go. So that's what this person is saying is happening again. And we know history repeats itself.
Yes.
So if you saw, they're trying to pass this thing where if you identify as LGBTQ illegally crossing the border, you cannot be detained.
Wow, which I saw and I was like, okay, they're all gonna be gay. Like every single one of them. you know,
Right.
like it's just and I think about that in this whole the gender fluid stuff is about like, yeah, okay, so a man wants to use the bathroom, a woman's bathroom, but who's to say that that's not a predator who is dressing up that way in order to get into the bathroom? You're giving you think you're being an ally,
Mhm. A lot
but
of times
really
they
in the
are.
end you're actually giving bad people or people who have bad intentions, right,
Mhm.
to use those things in a way that benefits them and fulfills whatever desire they're trying to get.
And that's the problem is that they can easily use that narrative against us and say, we're anti-trans. It's not that we're anti-trans, we're pro common sense, where you're just opening the door for predators. And
Right.
that's what separates us as humans, right? In between the right and the left. Because I'll tell you this, in talking to a lot of people outside of the movement, people that I deal with on a daily basis, people at work who are kind of on the fence or they're not sure what's going on, they will say, well, that's a little ridiculous. You guys are so extreme about it. I hear a lot of that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're not even open to the conversation.
Ugh. I think that, and this really, this like whole push of like accept us or else, like that is just the really bad way of doing it, right? And like telling women that we need to identify as cis. Like, what does that
What is
even
cis?
mean?
I don't even know what that means.
And just because you have a
You mean
pronoun
just
doesn't
a
mean
woman? Is that what
I
that
need,
means?
yeah, I don't need a pronoun. Like, woman is my pronoun, right? Like, I don't need some additional verbs to go in there to make it comfortable for you, right? Like, I think, and I think really now it comes down to the push on our kids and why. Like, do you want to indoctrinate our children to become one of you?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
They're grooming them early.
that's
That's the
it.
problem. When I was in, was it fifth grade? And you said you went through this too. We were tomboys. I think that's like a thing every girl goes through when they're
Oh
younger.
yeah, dude. I was a total tomboy. Like played
Yeah.
football. I cut all my sister's Barbie's hair and I put them on the tree and shot them with BB guns. Like I was
I love it.
not one of the girls. I was definitely
Yeah.
one of the boys.
But that's the thing. I mean, I actually told my friends in fifth grade to call me Jason because I wanted to be a boy.
Nice.
Now, imagine if I had a woke parent who was like, oh, you want to be Jason? Let's go get you some surgery, put you on some puberty blockers. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, I'm like, whoa, 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 what happens?
Yeah. And what's going to happen and when you turn 24, 25 and you can't have kids?
Mhm.
You don't look normal, like your hair doesn't grow right, or you're not going through the things that you should be at that age.
It's
Like
dangerous.
it's
There's an
very
18-year-old just
dangerous.
died from this. They had I think it was this, it was a boy that became a girl, and then they had like the grafting surgery and it went
Oh,
wrong. Did you see that story?
no, I didn't. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, they passed away because the body just rejected it, and they had issues and passed away recently.
Wow, that's really sad. I don't know. Like I've been listening to a lot of people who are detransitioning and I'm so like I want to push that. I want to give them a platform because they need to be heard. Their stories are really important right now. I have one saved on TikTok that I'm going to listen to later and probably share on my Telegram, but
Great.
she just got done testifying and she has quite the story to tell. And like I just don't understand why it has to be that level, right?
Mhm.
Like if your little girl, little boy is into those things, into dresses and into Barbies or whatever, then so be it. Let them do that. Who cares? You know what I mean? But why go to that level where you're want to perform a surgery to change them inevitably for the rest of their life?
Well, Big Pharma
That
makes
I
a whole
don't
lot of
get
money
it.
from that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the saddest part. You
I'm
know.
not advertising for a Red Bull, by the way. I should probably put
Hey,
something over it.
Red Bull gives you wings, man.
It's so bad for me. It's like
Send
one of those
my
things I can't get
$5
rid of.
check soon.
It's horrible. I have like 3 of those a day, and like I my amazing Telegram family they were encouraging me to get off the Red Bull, and it worked for a while. And then I just, creature of habit, went back
Yeah.
to it.
Well, 30 days to break a habit. So you get through those 30 days, you can do it. I quit smoking, ironically, New Year's of 2020,
Oh
not
wow.
knowing that 2020 was going to be one of the weirdest years of my entire life.
It's an interesting
You
time to
know,
quit
I
smoking.
was turning 40 and was going to Hawaii with my friends, and everything got canceled because of COVID. And, you know, yeah, 30 days, man. I just didn't smoke my habitual times. I didn't smoke after 8, didn't smoke in my car, didn't smoke when I woke up.
So was it gradual or immediate, like cold turkey?
I did my 30 days of like fasting, basically, of, you know, not smoking when, you know, at my
So,
regular
yeah.
times. And then by the time my quit day came, I was done.
And you were good.
Easy peasy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've had like maybe a couple cigarettes since then, but that's because I was like forced. Like, come on, just come. And it was so
Peer
gross.
pressure.
Like, yeah. I was worried about doing it because I'm like, oh man, I'm going to start my habit up. No way. They're
I
so
would be afraid of
disgusting.
that.
Yeah, they're absolutely gross. And I will never smoke cigarettes ever again.
That's great. Oh, that's amazing. So I wanted to talk about your COVID experience since we brought up COVID.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about work, because
Ugh.
we both work full time and we've got kids at home. I know everyone went through the fear of, is my job going to fire me if I don't get jabbed? Tell me about your
Yes.
experience there.
So at first, like I would say I went through some depression, right? Like I really placed a lot of value in myself as who I was as a worker, right?
Mhm.
Like I've been working my butt off since I was like 15. And so for me to like sit at home and quote unquote work, right? Because it's not like I was like working 8 hours a day. I was working here and there through the day.
Yeah.
Um, I got a little depressed and I was just like, ugh. And then I really gave it to God and like spent a lot of time reevaluating who I was and started placing my value in myself in the places that actually matter, like being a mom, like being a homekeeper and a friend and a family member and a dog owner and a cat owner. And, you know,
Got
started
both
like,
of those?
oh yeah, I have 3 cats and 2 dogs and 3 kids. Okay, my house is crazy, and it's
That's
just me in
incredible.
here running the show.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I have OCD, so my house is super clean. Not
I'm
something to
jealous.
boast about.
Mine is not.
My friends will come over and be like, "Where'd you put it all?"
Yeah.
um, but you know, I think, and then obviously at that time I started memeing and stuff. So I started painting, which is really interesting. Like I never picked up a paintbrush since I was like in kindergarten or something, and I painted almost every single day through 2020.
Wow.
So I was creating memes and painting pictures and spending a lot of time with God and like just refocusing everything. And I don't know, I became like a new person, I guess, in some aspect, right? Or I just became my real self, right?
Mhm.
And I really struggled during COVID because I am a rebellion at heart, right? Like
I think we all
tomboy.
are. That's
Yeah.
what brought us here, by the
Right.
way.
Yeah, like the more you tell me to do something, the more I'm like, no.
Nope.
Like, who do you think you are? Right? Like going back to days. But um, I refused to go to the store. I with mask on. Like I refused to do anything with a mask
Mhm.
on. I wouldn't participate. I didn't want to participate in the world's psychosis, right?
Yeah.
I traveled a lot during 2020. I went a ton of places. 2020, 2021, I went everywhere because nobody was traveling. So I was like, okay, great time to travel. I'll take a flight to Florida for $100.
It was so
Sweet.
cheap back then too.
Yeah. Like I just was out and about doing my thing, just whatever. And then it got concerning because they decided to push mandated vaccines at my work. And I was like, oh no, like, what am I going to do?
Mhm.
And I really just, again, gave it to God. And I was like, look, I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm absolutely not going to do this. If this would strain my relationship with you, it's not worth it to me. Like, I'm not willing to do it. I thought about like not saying it's the mark of the beast, but I thought about that. Like,
Yeah.
if it was a mark of the beast, would I renounce my faith in God in order to be okay in this world? No. And I think about the Bible verse, to have love for the world is to have enmity with him. I have to die to him daily and give him everything of mine.
Mhm.
And so I did that. I sat my family down and I said, yes, okay, I am like the person who all of you rely on, but I have to give this to God, and I'm going to rely on God. And I want to mentally prepare you all for the fact that it's very, very likely that I am going to lose my job, my career, my job, and all of our income. And I have
So sad
savings
that
and
people went through that.
everything, but not anything super sufficient. And um especially in Biden's economy, like, how can you really have like a super fantastic savings account? And so I decided to go ahead and send in a letter of exemption. And in that exemption, they have this, like, I don't know, 7 questions or something. It was really invasive. I refused to answer those questions. I literally wrote a Bible verse on every single line.
I love it.
And the last question was like, give us one reason why any of this matters, right? Or something to that effect. And I wrote that God provides me with everything I need, and I do not rely on man to provide me with anything.
Mhm.
And that's my faith in God, and it can never be taken away from me. 3 weeks later, it got approved.
Wow.
And
that's
I still have a
incredible. What
job.
story.
And I just gave glory to God and thanked him for protecting me and my family. And, over the years, I've had like questions about my job and what I do. Not that I have a bad job, like, I have a great job and I don't do anything like nefarious or evil or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I wondered if it was the right place for me to be and if I should keep working there. And God keeps showing me that, yes, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
I love it.
So, yeah.
I got to tell you, what people went through in that moment. I picture, you sitting down with your kids and having to have that discussion. It's so sad. And what people went through, I feel like, because we have this short-term memory, people have forgotten already what they went through.
Oh, yeah. I will never forget. And it was hard for me because, just on a personal level, like, my parents abandoned me when I was 12 years old. And I lived in foster homes and runaway homes, orphanages, until I was 16, and I got an apartment, and I ended up having my son at 17. He just turned 25. And I really have a lot of pride in who I am and the fact that I've like done this by myself.
Mhm.
So in that moment, to really have to swallow my pride and humble myself and to give it to God and let him have the reins of my life
Right.
was all in all difficult, but yet at the same time completely freeing, to fully lay my faith on my faith, just fully rely on him and know that he was going to take care of me in that moment.
I commend you. I mean, one of the traits I feel like a lot of us in this movement have is that we've overcome some major adversity at some
Absolutely.
point in our lives.
Yeah, I think all of us have. I've heard a lot of personal testimonies. I've had a lot of people share that kind of information with me.
Mhm.
And it's incredible. Like, a lot of us have really been set apart. And we were set apart in the sense that we had really traumatic childhoods. We went through really tough times as a teenager or young adult. And we have some crazy stories to share that are like faith building and amazing, like, human experiences that really set us apart from the world that is around us and the people even just in our own lives.
That's why they say we were made for a time such as this.
Amen to that.
I truly believe it. I mean, I like you said, you met some people at the pit. I mean, I had Jimmy on my first show, and I met him on Sean's podcast. We then met in person one day, and all of a sudden it was like we knew each other our entire lives. It's,
Yeah.
you know, and even talking to you today, I feel like I could talk to you for hours. You
I know,
what I
I
mean? But
totally
it
agree.
happens a lot.
Yeah.
I do
And
feel like we are somehow spiritually connected.
absolutely. I totally believe that 100%. Like every time I have a conversation with someone in this movement, it's always a very deep conversation, and we like almost share the same thoughts. Like
It's so true.
the conversation can just completely flow, and it's literally amazing. It's like God's up there orchestrating this whole thing and like making sure that we come together. It's absolutely amazing.
Amen. We're one big family, one big crazy family.
Yeah. I was telling Johnny last night, I'm like, are we the crazy ones? I don't know. I think they are.
Well, that's like that Apple video. Have you seen Here's to the Crazy Ones?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
even though it's Apple, it is very inspiring
Right.
because you almost feel like you have to be crazy enough to stand up against what people think is crazy. You got to be the first one to have that voice, the first one to step out of the crowd and say, "Wait a minute, something's wrong here."
Yeah, it reminds me of all the meme like with all the people, the little like outlined people, and then you
Yeah,
have the little Pepe's like, bye,
standing in front of the
like
crowd.
yeah, hi, I'm still here, right? Like hey, hey everybody. Yeah, I was right.
I look forward to the day where it's flipped and there's a bunch of a bunch of peppies, and then you've got the little outline guys like, "Help us, please!
Yeah, like
What's happening?"
that'll be like Hillary Clinton and all those guys that are like, let us in. We're like, no, we're done with you.
Yeah. But that's the
You-
thing. I do have faith in humanity. I really do truly believe. And I will tell you this, I try to stay away from TikTok. I try not to be on there too much anymore because I have noticed how you'll go on one thing and then all of a sudden you're like 30 videos in, you look at the clock like, "Oh my
oh
God, I've been on
yeah,
TikTok for an hour."
that algorithm
Looking at
is,
dumb stuff.
yeah, it's literally like a black hole of the abyss. I don't,
It's bad.
it's a time stealer. It's a life stealer.
It is.
However, I love that platform because people are awake. Like you said
Right.
earlier, like with the whole like them having Twitter for so long and making like it look like there was so many of them and everybody agreed with them. It's
Mhm.
the polar opposite on TikTok,
It's true.
where there's a lot of awake people, even liberal people or Democrats that are like questioning things on TikTok, right?
Exactly. And that's why I do think at some point there are some really great people on TikTok who have these major followings. And the
Mhm.
moment they start talking about something that's happening in the political spectrum, they start bringing more people into the fold who start questioning things. And when we get those people on our side fully and they start to see what they've missed, it's going to be incredible. And
Yeah.
that's why, even to, I think, the biggest trolls out there, I try not to troll back at them as much as I want to because they say some really stupid things. I try to do it in a nice way because I'm like, one day you're going to be on this side and you're going to be like, "Thank you for being nice to me."
Yeah, yeah, you never know. And you never know who you're talking to either. Like
That's true.
you're looking at a picture. You don't know who's on the other side of that. I mean, that's the nice thing about TikTok again is because a lot of people put their faces on the screen. Like you know who you're talking to. But when you're on Twitter, you're on Telegram, even on Truth, some of those people, you have no idea who's on the other side of that. Like it could be one of those big accounts on the other side of this fight,
They
and
actually
they
said
get
that
to
Elon has
be
another
on the
Twitter
other side
account.
of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You never know.
Was it the rabbit hole one that he
Yeah,
his second account?
yeah. That's what's being tossed around out there right now.
It's so incredible. I want to know which one he is on Truth.
Oh, I wonder if he's on there. Man, I couldn't imagine like how busy that guy's life is. Like, I think I'm busy.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't even. I mean, he's probably part robot or part alien, like he says he is. He said he tweeted one day and he said, "I keep telling people I'm an alien and no one believes me."
Yeah. Well, technically he is because he's from Africa, right? Like he's not from here, so that they call them aliens, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
but I don't know. He could be like a cyborg or I don't something. Who knows?
No, I wish I knew. I
Yeah,
wish
I
I knew.
wonder about that guy. Wonder, what side of the fight he's on. I mean, some days I question it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, he's on our side, and then sometimes I'm like, I don't
I
know.
question a lot of stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
questioning things is also a reason why we're able to see things the way we do now, why the veil's been lifted for us
Right.
because we question things. So
Hmm.
it's only natural for us to question what is around us. And I got to say, I don't mean it in a way where, there's infighting and all these things, and you're a Fed and you're a Fed. I
Oh,
just think
geez.
that whole thing is so stupid.
I
But
agree.
questioning that there are people out there in the movement who, at some point, people were like, oh, this person might be bad. I don't know. And at some point, some people we thought were bad may be good, and some people we thought were good may be bad. Right?
A
I've got a
hundred
friend out
percent.
there who thinks that Obama is a secret white hat. Okay, maybe.
Okay, that might be a little far fetched, but
It is, but listen, I'm like, maybe, okay, give me the proof. Tell me what you
yeah,
got.
you never know, especially right now, like when we're like in this 5G war, right? Where like you don't know who's been flipped. There might be
Yep.
some people that are on our side that are doing things on in the outside world that are like they are definitely not on our side, but they're doing that on purpose with a
Mhm.
purpose to help us win, right?
Psychological warfare. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've been in a war and people don't realize. I mean, I made a TikTok video the other day saying, okay, they showed you what really happened with JFK and nobody cared.
Nobody
They,
cared.
yeah, they just showed you about 9/11. Hey, these guys were CIA assets. Did people care? I mean,
Nope.
when do people care?
I don't know. Like I said, like I don't know what it's gonna take, like for people to care, like for people to go, oh my gosh, and have that like waking up moment. And that moment is so different from every
For everyone.
person. Like you don't know what it's gonna take. I mean, it could literally just be your smile. Someone could just pop on your TikTok and be like, it doesn't have anything to do with what you're talking about,
Right.
but then they like you and then they start following more of your stuff and then they wake up, like you just never know what's going to turn that light switch on for somebody.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. I mean, one of the things I want to make sure that people remember to do is encourage others around them because that is so important. I wouldn't be here right now podcasting if I wasn't encouraged to do it
Yeah.
because I didn't think I could. And I didn't think I had the time for it. I didn't think I would figure out how to do it. But it's incredible the things we can do when people encourage us to try to do more and to
I
get
couldn't
out
imagine you not being in this movement. Like, I don't know if I
Thank you.
told you, but like, my daughter's dad's mom sent me your YouTube, that original video that went viral way back.
Really?
Yeah, and she's like, "You have to watch this." And I was like, "Oh, I've seen it." Like I was like, "I'm actually friends with her." And she's like, "What?" So
I
it's
love
like
it. I love
one
it.
of those things where like you have made such a huge impact, and
Thank
that
you.
the videos you make are so like stimulating and help people like think,
Yeah,
and they make people step out of the box. And so it's really amazing what you do, and you're very good at it,
I
just so
appreciate
you know.
them.
Like I can't do that. Like I'll be the memer, you.
Well, that's the thing. We all have different talents, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
great
yeah.
at what you do, and that's what I mean. Is that I can't do everything. I don't even know that I'm a podcaster. You know what I mean? But
I
you
think
never
you're
know.
doing
I'm gonna try it.
fantastic. Yeah, you're doing fantastic.
Thank
I've
you.
watched them all. You're doing good.
I really
And I'm
appreciate
so
it.
happy to be here.
Same. Same. I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, what I try not to tell people what to think. And a lot of where I started, and I mentioned this before in my podcast, was one, because I was angry and I needed to vent. So I chose to do it in a video form, and none of my friends were talking to me. So I was like, I'm just gonna put it out on the internet. But then it was also me learning things. So even when I did the Twitter Files series, sometimes I wouldn't read the Twitter Files until I read it to a camera. It's pretty
Right.
interesting.
And
So
then that's when you're taking it in.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I do a lot of my research and a lot of my learning as I do these videos sometimes. And I try to put myself in the mind frame of someone who has no idea about these topics. And so I try to make it so that it's easy to, it's almost like, what's happening in the world for dummies, because I
Yeah,
need it
no.
sometimes.
You should have a book. Just name
Although
it
I feel
that.
like they wouldn't watch it if it was for dummies. I think I'm making fun of
I know. How rude. How can you call me dumb? No, and that's what I think that's another thing too, is like you're giving it in a way that's easy to consume, right? You're not like pushing down a plate of food down their throat. Like you're
Exactly.
giving them little bites at a time just to get them a little bit inquisitive. And even if they don't agree with you, they probably going to go on Google or whatever search engine they like
That's what I want them to do.
and look it up.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's really what you want to do. You want to make a fisher out of a man, right? Like we
I'm
want
sure you
people
into this
out.
rabbit hole.
We don't want to tell people how to think or what's true and what's not true. We want to give them seeds of truth so that they can go seek it themselves. It's
Exactly
the
right.
same way like with my faith, right? Like I could go around all day telling people Jesus is king and get saved today. People
Mhm.
don't want to hear that. Like I just tell them testimonies, or they'll literally witness something that I'm experiencing and they'll be like, "Whoa, that's cool."
That's like
And
you said, you never know what it's gonna be that's going to get that person, because you may say something where they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, I wanna know more about that." It's
yeah, yeah,
exactly
yeah.
right. And the same thing with what you do in terms of memeing,
Mhm.
because you never know. I'm sure you've put memes out where you're like, I'm not sure about this one," and that's the one that goes viral.
Oh my God, that happens literally all the time. And it's funny because it happens a lot with things that I don't watermark, because I'm
Mhm.
like,
Oh, it's the
just gonna
worst.
put this out there because it's funny. And then boom, like it goes viral. Like uh I think like Junior just used one of my remade memes and I didn't have any watermark on it at all. And nobody would know that I did it unless you
Yeah.
looked at my meme maker and then you're like, oh, that's hers.
Yeah, see, we've gotta repost it at Junior and say, "Hey, Voltron."
This was hers. No, it's all good. I mean, that's the thing is though, at the same time, I don't do this for recognition. I
Mhm,
don't do this for anything. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for that. I do it because it's inspiring. I love to do it and I like to see people be inspired or wake up to something that I share or look at something and go, "Wow, that
mhm.
really, captures this moment," right? Or
Exactly
laugh
right.
their butts off, right? Like I love to make people laugh too. So it's one of those things. My intention is never for my own fame or for my own pride level. Like all glory to God at the end of the day.
Okay.
He's the one who gave me the gifts and inspires me. And you know what? It's funny. A lot of my big memes that went super viral, those are things that came to me in a dream.
Ugh, that's the same thing that happens to me. I swear to you, there are times where I have this, like, mind block, and I'll pray, and then it's
Boom.
my best video ever.
Yep. That's the way it is. Like I have that Disney one, right, where it says groomers, like the little whatever her name is flies over the Disney castle and it spells out
Oh,
groomers.
Tinkerbell?
Yeah, and Jack Posobiec put that out when he got his Twitter back, like, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 months, 9 months ago. So that one went super viral.
It's incredible.
That one was a dream. I had it in my head, and I woke up in the morning and I called my friend Strider and I was like, we need to make this. Like,
I love it.
let's do it, and then it went super viral, and it was like, wow, that's awesome. And that was like something, God has a sense of humor. So
I love the way God uses you, Voltron. I really do.
oh, thank you.
And I truly believe you have a beautiful heart. I mean, you are not just talented and amazing, but you have a beautiful heart. And I'm so grateful to know you.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me. And I feel the same way about you, for sure.
Listen, I know you've got a incredibly busy schedule. The 3
Yep.
babies at home, work, dog and cat, and everything else.
Yep.
Making sure you have a spotless house, which I'm jealous of. I wish I could do that.
Yep. And
I'm
we're off to
inspired by
soccer
you.
here in a few minutes. So
Yeah. So
well, thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. Everybody, the Pilled family, YouTube, Rumble, thank you so much for being with us. Voltron, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you on Telegram.
Yes, you will.
Oh,
Right.
and so we're to before we go, let everybody know where they can find you. Sorry.
Oh, I'm on Telegram, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and True Social, all the same handle, Voltron4444. And if I come back one day, I'll tell you about my 4s.
Ooh, sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I will chat with you soon.
Cool. Have a great night. Thank you.
Have a great night, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hey guys, Defender of the Republic here. You may have seen me on TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, Twitter, or Truth Social. Today, I, like many others fighting to unite our country and share truth, was silenced by this platform. I understand what I'm signing up for when I choose to establish myself on a platform of a private company. However, I've taken the time to read through the community guidelines and follow them for every single post they've created. Yet, we know the world is not fair. Free speech is no longer a right, and tyranny surrounds us every day. Those of you who have helped me build my platform, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it is you who have kept me going. The great patriots of this country are like none other, and when we work together, there is nothing we can't achieve. I, like many like me, have spent many sleepless nights and sacrificed so much to be able to use my voice for the purpose I believe that God gave me. My hope is that one day, true freedom will be restored, not just here in America, but all over the world. My hope is that those warriors God has put here at this time will awaken to their true purpose. In the words of a man who's endured years of public injustice, there is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever, ever back down. As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a little chance, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. To the many like me who've been silenced, we will rebuild. We will keep coming back, and we will continue to share truth. Thanks for listening.